New Zealand Fashion Week just wrapped, so I thought I'd make a video showing you my process for musical directing and DJing a fashion show.
Il est 7 heures du matin, faut se réveiller.
This show was for Tango Vintage and June's Cry, and Dres basically said to me, I give you complete creative freedom, play whatever you want. He might have mentioned Edith Piaf, but that was about it, which is a huge compliment to have someone put this much trust in you. But I am a very visual / audio association type of person, so when I saw some of the garments, I had a really strong instinct for what I thought the show should sound like. The role of music is always to support and elevate the clothes and whatever the collection is trying to say. But at the same time, I feel that music is so instrumental to how the audience absorbs the collection. So I think even though it is supporting the clothes, it also stands on its own as a really important element of the whole show. One way you can do this is by really complementing and mirroring the clothes. So if the clothes are very beautiful and delicate, then you can play very delicate sounding music. And another approach is to contrast. Fashion collections are works of art, and like any good art, it usually has a deeper meaning that might not instantly be visible on the surface. Music is a great tool at helping communicate that. So rather than simply complementing the clothes, the music can challenge them. Something unexpected, harsh, or even unsettling can make the audience view the collection from a completely different angle. And it really just comes down to the goal of the collection and what it is trying to say as a piece of art, and the music is just there to support this. Fashion is art, and art is meant to move people. This show, I wanted to use both of those approaches. Tags is one of the biggest tools that I use. Anytime I put music in my record box, I try to tag it as detailed as possible. Some of the tags that I looked at for this show was French, Italian, because of the European fashion. I looked at talking, dark, random sounds. I also have a playlist called Fashion Show, which I actually created back in 2018 when I started DJing because I knew I would eventually be playing fashion shows. I also have a playlist called Cold Lounge, and for those of you that remember fashion TV of the 2000s, it is very much that type of vibe. I also looked at my Apple playlists. I have a playlist called DJ Random. If I found something that could work from those playlists, I then did a deeper dive into those artists, similar artists. And this is basically the process of sort of like collecting lots of songs that could work for the show before I start organizing and really selecting.
Il est parti chercher des cigarettes. En fait, il est parti.
North Star tracks. These are the tracks that usually are the first thing that pops into my mind, and they very much set the tone for either the whole set or sections of the set. When I saw this June's Cry design, I knew exactly what song I was going to play for it. It's a beautiful track by Faust, and it starts off as this dirty rock track and then goes into the sound. It just sounds like a radioactive lake. The sound of dripping, electricity, buzzing, darkness. It is just so perfect. I love that track so much. And this design made out of this black goo dripping on the model's body. Perfect. Perfect for this track. June's Cry is also very sexy, and I knew because of that I wanted to play something that sounded strong, like a strong female, and maybe a little bit cunty. This track by Miss Kita was perfect. It also had this like saw sound that made it a really good progression from Faust. For tango, I wanted something a little bit more classic, elevated European. One of my North Star tracks was this beautiful track by Caterina Cassel, Tutto Nero. It's an Italian cover of Painted Black. I am obsessed. I also had Shirley Bassey's Where Do I Begin, but a remix version. Paroles, Paroles, because of the beautiful spoken word, as well as some more obscure tracks that I love. after selecting all of my North Star tracks and organizing them in a way that would tell a story, I would then look at how I link all of them. One thing that actually helped with this is when I initially put all the music that I wanted to use for the show in Rekordbox, I organized it by these little playlists. So when I was creating all the links, if I felt like, oh, it needs a little bit more rock in here, or a bit more fun or whatever, I could reach and pull my ingredient, edit in to make my beautiful cake. Now, because there was a lot of moving parts right up until the show date, I actually didn't know the runtime of the show, exactly what garments were going to be in, how many. So that meant I couldn't create a proper set list and really plan it out like that. And the show actually did end up running a lot shorter than I anticipated. So I had to work on the fly to make sure that I still told the story from beginning to middle to end, even though it was a much shorter set. Now, at one point in the show, I just got a feeling that this is when I cue in that Edith Piaf track. If you remember, this was the only artist Dris mentioned in our consultation, and I didn't want to play one of her well-known tracks because that would be too on the nose. I mean, people would recognize her voice anyway. So I found this amazing track.
La ville inconnue.
It's from a live album, so she's singing live. And so I just get a feeling, okay, this is when I put this track in. I cue her in. A couple minutes into the track, I'm watching the models and they start doing the cattle walk. This is when the show is about to finish and all the models do their final walk all together. The designer also comes out for their bow. I look at the models, I look at the track, I look at the models, I look at the time left on the track, and mind you, this is a live track and I know that it has applause on the end of it. Now, my initial plan was to mix out into a different track before the applause. But because I saw that the show was finishing, I was like, I'm gonna let it run. And at that point, I had no idea if it was gonna work out, because if the track finished too early, we would have silence, and that would be a disaster. If the track finished too late, that would also be horrible because the climax of the song is happening and there's no one on the runway. No. So anyway, I'm doing this math in my head. I'm like, there's this many seconds left of the track. The models are walking. Dris is about to come out. And I just have this nervous energy in me and I just have a feeling, holy shit, this is gonna work out more perfect than I could have imagined. And it does. Dris is doing his final bow. The real live audience are applauding. The track is applauding. Edith Piaf is holding her final note. Dris steps off the runway. The track finishes. And the joy I felt before it happened, when I was like, I think this is what's gonna happen. And then it happened and it worked out so perfect. It's just magic. It's just those moments that are meant to be. And I think when this type of stuff happens, it is one of the most rewarding things for a DJ or for an artist, because, you know, this is that divine intervention. You can't plan it. It just happens. It just comes. Magic. Oh yeah, I think if you're gonna do anything, then you really gotta put in the time and study it. Learn the history, learn who the greats are. For me, when it comes to musical direction and fashion, Michel Gaubert is absolutely one of the greats. I've been following his work for years and he is just amazing. I would just say if you're gonna do something, you need to love it and you need to stay curious about it.